Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the CantinaMX podcast. I believe this is edition 157 of the CantinaMX podcast. My name is John Jagu. Glad that you're with us this evening. We are broadcasting live on YouTube as we normally do every Thursday night. Get started a little late tonight. It's been a weird past couple of weeks for a lot of us here in the CantinaMX podcast. We do want to send a big shout out and thanks to Beto Campa for sitting in solo for the past couple of weeks as folks' schedules and travel itineraries were not allowing them to participate in the CantinaMX podcast as they normally would. So we do give a tip of our sombrero to Beto Campa for filling in for us and filling in admirably, I must say, on the CantinaMX podcast. He got a lot of good feedback from that. A lot of people are saying that it was the best podcast we ever had. Actually, no one is saying that, but we do want to make them have just a little bit of a big head for a little bit. No, but we do thank Beto Campa for doing that. As I said, my name is John Jagu. Happy to have you with us this evening on the CantinaMX podcast. Joining me tonight, and hopefully we'll have others climb on as we are on the show. We have Joel Aceves. Joel Aceves joins us from California, but for the past couple of weeks, Joel Aceves did a little traveling. Joel, where did you go?
I was in Spain and then in Portugal.
Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, 1 week each.
Wow, that must have been very nice. You probably had a good time.
It was rather hot, but it was nice.
So
by LA weather, John.
I was about to ask you. So, like in LA, it's like the highs are in the low 70s, high 60s. So, to you, like 75 is you're dying. You want to spend the whole day by the pool.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, Joel, happy to have you with us. You'll have to fill us in on the big trip a little later. I know that you didn't get a chance to do as much of the football stuff on this trip as maybe you would have considered doing it at a previous point in your life. But we'll
go back to it.
We'll discuss it in a minute. But we do have other pressing matters to talk about, Joel. None more pressing, of course, than I turned it down, and I could have, and then. So Joel, Chivas, they had a 1-1 draw with Club América en el Clásico Nacional, el Superclásico, el Clásico de Clásicos, el partido más importante de las Américas. Outside of Joel, maybe Boca, River Plate, I would have to say that the Chivas América is the biggest and most important rivalry match in the Americas.
And I think there's a lot of Brazilians that are going to be angry at you, John.
Well, I don't know. I don't know any of the Brazilians. See, here you go. I don't know any. Well, Fly and Flu.
Flamengo and Fluminense.
How many times do people think of a big Clásico and they go, "Oh yeah, the Flu Clásicos"?
But I think that's the one with the most. Just Brazil being as big country as it is, they have just way more fans than Argentina, with both clubs being Buenos Aires based.
Well, the whole Liga Argentina is Buenos Aires based.
Yeah, no, but you're right that at the international stage, you could ask fans from other countries, and without knowing much about like the Argentine league, they'll know about the River Boca.
Right.
But I think Fla-Flu is also very huge. But I think with us being in the U.S., you arguably say it's one of the bigger even in this country.
No, there's no question, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. I did not get to see as much of the match as I would have liked. But I did get to watch some of it, and I gotta it cracks me up when I hear a coach like Pio Herrera at the end of it complain about what the other team was doing. Dude, if you don't like what the other team is doing, then figure it out and beat them. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just that is just such a lame
He
excuse from a coach. Well, they were doing this and this.
he did
Well,
seem salty.
well, figure it out, dude. Draw them out, lay the trap. So I didn't have much sympathy for them, and of course, America did miss a late penalty. And it's funny because I turned the game off like at the 85th minute, thinking, oh, this is nothing going to happen to this thing. But shame on me for that. But it does end in a 1-1 draw. Alan Pulido scores the goal for Chivas, and then and then Pretty Boy. He can't do his own celebration. He has to do a Ronaldo celebration. Why can't Pretty Boy Pulido come up with his own shtick?
We're missing Campas here. He's a Pulido expert.
He is the Pulido expert. So
yeah. But Pulido has been scoring, which is good news for Chiva fans.
it would be good news for a lot of people, Joel, because as you know, in addition to the big Super Clásico Nacional, the most important soccer match in North American club soccer, Chivas America. The other big news of the week, which is probably our main topic, but it's just always fun to start the show, and frankly, I always look for excuses to play because it's such a great drop. I mean, that is just emblematic of what Guadalajara is and what it stands for. I'm not going to have Shakira say, or Soda Stereo. You gotta have the man rip that out. So we want to play it as much as possible. But there is national team news, Joel, and anytime there's national team news, that seems to pique the interest of a lot of folks, especially here in this country. So let us jump right in, Joel. There are two friendlies, post World Cup friendlies that Mexico has decided to play in Mexico, which I think is a good thing. Playing in Querétaro and also in the Volcán. They're playing in Monterrey, but not at the pretty new Tamalera, though they're a future World Cup stadium. No, they are desperately making moves to see if they can somehow convince Tuca Ferretti to take the gig. So they've moved. As you pointed out before, the communications girl is now at Femex Food. They're the president of Tigres, El Inge, is looking like he's going to be the next commissioner of Liga MX, which of course is a separate, and when I say separate, I am air quoting, a deal than Femex Food. And now they're playing this game at the Volcán, so Tuca doesn't even have to leave his house. Tuca can have the concentración in his backyard, and then they would probably allow it.
And he can Uber.
That's right. He wouldn't even have to, though. They would have to Uber to him. To him.
Yeah.
And again, it's a list that frankly I'm actually somewhat happy about, because there's players that need some opportunities to be on this squad. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, yeah, John, it's something we've been talking about here for a long time, how the selección is looking to be more league. It's going to be more league heavy going into the next cycle. And it's also like a lot of people had fear that Tuca wouldn't call young players, and it's his list for the 4 games has been filled with young players so far. So I think if that was a concern for some, if the Brazilian was to take over, I don't think that should be a concern any longer.
So here's a list right here. They have 3 goalies. It's Hugo González, Raúl Gudiño, and Gibran Lahoud. Big news here, of course, is that this is the first time probably since the mid '70s that we haven't seen either Corona or Ochoa or Talavera on the field. It's been a long time.
Or Conejo. Conejosaurus Rex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Ola Ferreira, or Jorge Campos. So it has been a while. So there you have, that is your the goalies. Goalies are getting a chance, and I got to tell you, I've always thought that, at least in the past 5-6 years, Mexico's very deep at goalkeeper. And why is Mexico deep at goalkeeper? Because there's a lot of Mexican goalkeepers that play regularly in Liga MX. So what a shock if you're going to play a lot, you're going to get better, and you're going to be able to give a showcase of your abilities and talents. So that's what we have with these three guys.
Yeah, it's been you could say Talavera, Corona, and Memo have all been pretty consistent the past 4 or 5 years.
Dude, the past 15 years.
That long.
I mean, Memo's been getting called up since 2006. I mean, Memo's been getting called up for 12 years.
No, but he did go through like a little rough patch. But overall, he's always performed. Or like overall, he's with the national team. He's always managed to put in the good performances. These three guys, they look pretty good. Not worried. I don't think there's any worry. I think the only worry we have, and it's something that we're here at the Cantina, where we try to make tomorrow's news today.
That's right.
Was the striker. We've been talking about this, John, since our Gentleman's Pack articles.
That's right. You are exactly correct. So let's compare that then to the goalies. So what happens in Liga MX with goal? Out of the 18 teams, there's maybe 4 or 5 foreigners that play goalkeeper in Liga MX. The majority of the goalkeepers in Liga MX are Mexican. So it would stand to reason then that there would be a pretty decent pool of players from which to pick from. And I think that these three guys, as far as the younger guys, are excellent choices. Let's compare that then to the strikers in Liga MX. We're out of 18 teams. 2 Liga MX teams have Mexicans as their starting striker, and one of them has to do it because of their personnel policy.
Yes.
So, is anybody shocked then that the forwards chosen for this are Raúl Jiménez, who's playing very well actually at Wanderers. He's learning to be, for lack of a better term, a defensive forward. I mean, he's learning how to help get the ball back, and he's done it I think he's played very well. He's scored goals. He's missed some, but he scored some, and he sets up. He has 2 goals and 2 assists so far in England. So he's playing pretty well. Chucky, of course, and then there's Henry Martin and Ángel Saldívar. And so the only other guy that you can choose right now is Pulido, which he was chosen in the last go around, and Alexis Vega, who frankly should at least be given consideration because he's one of the few Mexican strikers that starts and plays for a good team, Toluca, and is actually has done pretty well.
Was he injured though, John?
Well, I've been in an
You've been out
3 weeks.
Same here.
I have no idea.
Same here, but one thing that I guess that they're doing is that they're just giving other players a shot, I guess, to see how they are, like si hacen grupo,
Sure.
just to see how they react to being with the national team or how they get along with other players. So I think that's one of the main things they've been doing is just giving these guys a feel.
Trying to figure out who are the fiesteros and who are the
who are the team players, like the guy that might not get to play, but he's still cooperating and being.
So do you have a problem with fiesteros on the national team, Juan? Does it bother you?
I think I do because not because like I don't think they shouldn't, but more for like the team that we have. It's like they're in a position where they can't, you know,
Why can't they?
because for the most part, Mexico's a team that has to be like at the best to perform. You know, even in this region,
So you're
if we're
saying
not,
Mexico is not good enough to party the way they do. They haven't earned it.
yeah, they party like they're
Yeah.
world class when it comes to partying, man.
World class in every sense of the word. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's my
Even
thing.
the memes from other countries were talking about it. Like they were talking about how I think I don't know if it was true, but I know it was during the World Cup, and I think it was from Brazil. I saw this meme, and it said like Germany prohibits sex in their training camp before the World Cup, and then it says Mexico host an orgy, and then they put the score of the game for the World Cup.
Right.
So I mean, yeah,
Funny you mentioned the Germans because in '82 they made the final, and years later you find out that it was just basically just a they were it was like a drunken booze cruise for the whole month with Germany. They were just
daily pool party.
raising all kinds of hell that whole World Cup. They end up and frankly, I'll be honest. I would hope that's how it should be. I mean, these guys, yeah, they're getting paid, but it's not like their job. It's I know there's a lot of the country this and that, but I mean, it should be fun for them. It shouldn't be like this ridiculously tense, pucker factor that set the diamond affair. I mean, it should be fun. They should have fun when they go do these things.
Yeah,
Anyway, so yes, so we have a bunch of goalies that play, and obviously you have a very deep player pool, and some goalies obviously have emerged as very intriguing talents and prospects for future national teams. But at the forward level, where we don't see any players play, very few, very few come off the bench in Liga MX. We have Chicharito, who's on the downswing. Chicharito we've been out for a couple. Chicharito's been out for a month because he's been having a hard time fighting off a spleen. And in fact, how do you get a spleen infection, Joel? Is that
I don't know. Is it a bench related?
I don't know.
You still want to show me?
I mean, how does that even happen to get a spleen? I mean, that's pretty serious. I mean, that is that that is definitely something that you'd want to make sure you're completely cleaned up with.
Yeah, and
before you
this
start.
team is doing good, man. They just beat Manchester United.
Well, they have a really good coach.
Yes, they do, sir.
He in my mind is a world top 10 coach, maybe even a world top 5 coach. I've been dying to get this guy to come since 10 years ago to come coach Mexico's national team, or at least come and coach Mexico. But I mean, he's he won didn't he win the Premier League with Manchester City? Pellegrini.
I don't keep up too much. Yeah.
He's a terrific coach. I mean, it should be no surprise that the West Ham United is starting to see some success. So hopefully Chicharito I can get back to it and make his contributions there. But I do think that as far as his national team career goes, Chicharito obviously is a very if he gets going, he's obviously somebody that would be an undisputed player on the national team. There's no question.
It's
been a while since he's played like that, so well, hopefully we will get to see that part of it again. But outside of him, go ahead.
No, and the other part, he is 30, and I think that if he can't break into the first team where he gets significant playing time, he should dial it in because this is going to be his last World Cup, and at his age, he's not getting any better offers.
Right. Well, what he'll be, Joel, if he does end up making the World Cup 2022 rosters, he's going to be like the Ricardo Peláez in '94. or I'm sorry, 98.
Hey,
That striker off the bench that when you absolutely have to have a goal, he's gonna be there for you.
but John, he why not the Roger Milla?
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
Peláez scored a couple goals in the World Cup too, Joel.
did, but I mean, given Mexico's striker status, if he maintains himself in good shape and in good form, he could still start.
Yeah. If things don't go well for him at West Ham this year, does he go back to Chivas, Joel?
It's a possibility, but Chivas just doesn't have the funds. Uh, I think they would have to be really
So
crafty
so
to
Atlas.
lure him in. No, no, I mean, because I think any of the Monterrey teams could just
Well,
snap him up. Give him the
Morelia. People think he's from Guadalajara, but he actually grew up in Morelia because that's where his
yeah.
dad played. So
No, I think I think the Monterrey teams obviously can easily pay him what he makes. Um,
Cruz Azul.
but he had yes, yeah, the Blue Cross, but he is hardcore Chiva. His grandfather, his close
Yeah.
ties and all that. But they're gonna have to be pretty
Does
crafty in luring
does
him in and like trying to match his salary and then giving him some bonuses.
does
Uh,
Chicharito have the tattoo on his chest of Nestor and Chepo like you do, kind of like how Nettie
no,
had his mother and father? Your De La
no,
Torre tattoo. No,
no,
he's
sir.
not. He's not that Chiva.
Somos leyenda, fútbol
He's not that.
No. But you know what team has been trying to lure him in is LAFC, John.
They have been. They
And
had a big tifo at the game that I went to
it
last
did.
year. Asking
Yeah.
Chicharito, hey man, why don't you come take a look at
He
us?
he was their first target before Vela. And him and Vela both played as youth with Chivas. They came
That's
out
right.
through the same. There's some pictures. They're funny to be seen the pictures, and they're all young right there. They look like
Little
they look.
babies.
They are little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think he could maybe come over here for like 2 years or three, and then finish off at Chivas.
Well, see,
Uh,
I'm just in hearing, what he has said. I just don't think that. I think that Chicharito, one, he doesn't need the money, and two, I just think that his. I don't. I think that if he came back this way, I don't think he'd play in MLS. I think he would play in Liga MX. I
but
really
but
do.
you know what he doesn't like, John,
What?
and he's made it very clear that the Mexican press. I mean, didn't he veto Spanish interviews for like 2 years, maybe? Was it? He was just not giving any interviews in Spanish whatsoever.
Right.
So I know he doesn't like
So
all that
you think
jello.
but he wouldn't be. But the thing is he wouldn't be as anonymous in MLS as some players, just because does have more of a worldwide reputation.
True, but I mean, he wouldn't have to put up with the type of stories that would be coming out in Mex.
Perhaps, I, mean, I think it depends on where, like you said, if he goes to Monterrey, then he would be protected. I mean, how much hell do you think the Monterrey players raise in Monterrey? I mean, think of Monterrey, the kind of town that it is, as much money, and probably there's a lot of financially well-off people in Monterrey, and they like to party a lot, because I know some folks in Monterrey, and they are some raging partiers, probably more so than the Tapatíos or even the Chilangos. And you don't hear a peep about what happens with the players down there ever.
Yeah,
How often do you hear about a Tigre or a Rayado, going out on getting hammered, and shit faced, but you hear it constantly about Chivas players, and never, not once, about Monterrey or Tigres players.
yeah.
They're
No,
protected.
that is true. It was one of the main stories when Gulit Peña was in Guadalajara, that he tried to do the same thing he did as when he was in León.
My advice to
And
you is to start drinking heavily.
and he would, in León, he would go out even after the team lost, and he would go out, and the fans will go up to him and they'll buy him a beer, and he was in Guadalajara, and the fans, if he went out when the team lost, they would just let him have it, you know.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Indeed. No, you're absolutely, and I'm sure that happens in Monterrey too. But again, the press. I mean, very rarely do you hear. I mean, who was he's actually? I think he's back on. I think Dueñas is finally back on the national team.
No, I think Monterrey is forgiving because there was a one where I think they lost the final, and then Guignac was somewhere in there. Everyone's asking him for autographs and pictures.
Right.
Which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that.
All right. So
for the record.
Sure. Here is the defense. Yeah. So I think that if it's not Guadalajara, I could certainly see him going to Monterrey. And again, I'm not saying that Chicharito's like a, he's not a rager or anything like that. But I do think that to your point that the press is pretty ugly. I think that there's certain places where the press isn't as ugly as it could be. All right. So back to the national. So defenders. We have Eric. I speak Spanish and I'm fluent. Y cuando hablo español no me sale mi acento. But the one last name that I have the hardest to be pronounced is Aguirre. I have it's so hard for me to go from I to double R for whatever reason. So Eric Aguirre. It's so hard for me. Anyway, so we have him. Edson Alvarez, future captain of the national team. Jesus Angulo, Nestor Araujo, Gerardo Arteaga. Diego Reyes, which frankly, I'm not sure why. Chaca Rodriguez, a big and much deserved call up for Jose Carlos Van Rankin, who's been one of the Chivas' great surprises this season. And Chaca Rodriguez and Jesus Dueñas, the man who was probably, had he kept played his cards right and not been a fiestero, as it were, but apparently his fiesta was it was pretty rough. Banned for the national team for a couple of years. I mean, he was in the plans. He was probably going to be the holding midfielder with Osorio, but he who knows what happened. He got caught doing something, and they just refused to call him up for a year and a half. But anyway, so he is back on the squad, Jesus Dueñas. But again, you haven't heard what happened because he lives in Monterrey. Marco Fabian is back. Jonathan Gonzalez, Eric Gutierrez, Victor Guzman, who's playing really well. El Piojo Alvarado, Isaac Brizuela, another Chivas having a good season. Isaac Brizuela. Again, if Chivas have good seasons, they're going to be on the national team. Jesus Corona, Jürgen Damm, and then Javier Güemes. And good to see Javier Güemes back on the team after suffering that awful broken leg in the couple years. I guess it's 3 years ago now against Pumas in the Liguilla. But he's back on. And of course, we already mentioned the forwards: Raul Jimenez, Irving Lozano, Henry Martin, and I cannot call him Henry Martin. I just can't do it. It's Henry Martin and Ángel Saldívar are the strikers for the national team. So good to see Marco Fabian back. He's another one who I think could probably come to a team on a pretty decent transfer. And for the Apertura, I think it's too bad that Chivas couldn't make a move for him to take him to the Club World Cup, because he would do all right now.
He would be a welcome addition, John. Speaking of Van Rankin, John, so Pumas, you might be somewhat relieved to know that he went to Chivas on the loan.
Well, if Chivas were smart, they should do whatever they need to do to lock him up, because he has played very well for Chivas this year.
Yeah, because I was doing some research, but I only found one outlet claiming that the loan had a option to buy clause.
Well, every loan has an option to buy clause.
I don't know, John. Some of them are just, it depends, man. But but I think they could have been with this one. So hopefully it does. If not, his price just went up.
Indeed, you are absolutely correct. So there are some players. We didn't see Lainez on this particular list.
Yeah, I think he had a slight injury, and then I was wondering if there's gonna be any under 20 call up soon,
Mm-hmm.
because that might be another reason.
Well, I mean, he also hasn't been playing all that much since that last call up, so it probably stands no reason that he.
But no, but I do think players like Lainez and Gonzalez, and there's like a group of at least I'll say about 10 players. I think they're all going to be carried on from the youth to all the way to the senior team. FMF has always done that. They always had a pretty select group,
Right.
and they take them through the whole process. So if you're a Lainez fan, yeah, I wouldn't be worried that he didn't get called up.
Yeah,
That guy's he's gonna feature heavily. Might not right now. These are just amistosos. Worry if he doesn't make like the. Well, even then, but still, I do think he's one of the, especially being from America. I think.
By the way, the Gold Cup final and the Copa America final on the same day. So the tournament's being played at the same time.
Wow, I wonder why, John.
That is such an obvious slap in the face to CONCACAF.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with television rights in the U.S.
No,
none whatsoever.
Of course not.
Oh,
well,
man.
you know what else is that day is the women's World Cup final.
Man, brutal.
Indeed. So Joel, they're going to be playing 2 games.
Yes,
they're playing it in Querétaro, which I don't know why they always play in Querétaro, but they will be playing in Querétaro. And they're playing Chile at the Corregidora, site of one of the most unexpected soccer massacres in World Cup history in the Corregidora. When El Buitre put up a poker against Denmark.
Wait. I was going to say Belgium. Yeah, it was Denmark. But that Denmark team, correct me if I'm wrong, they had been on a roll, right?
They won all 3 games in their group, including Germany. They They opened up a can of whoop ass on Uruguay and Nesa.
Wow.
And beat them 6-1. They beat Scotland. Actually, was their hardest game, and they won that one once. Yeah, so they were, and they had the cool uniforms.
And
they were like, go ahead.
Didn't they have like a saucy nickname too, that like the Dynamite or something like that?
They were the was it Danish Dynamite?
Something like that, man.
But they were like, they had the cool uniforms. I mean, they just had it. They had it. They were the sexiest team in the World Cup for 2 or 3 World Cups.
They were priming up to be the new Germany.
Exactly. And then they they even went up 1-0 in that game. They got a penalty in the first half, but the Buitre in 10 minutes just took care of all that.
It's like not today.
Yeah.
That World Cup, Belgium, I believe. Belgium was also doing pretty good.
Belgium semifinals. Actually, Belgium beat Spain in Puebla in the quarterfinals. They went to penalties and they won that.
Good memory there, John. We need to make sure you're not using Google.
Oh, I'm not using Google. I'm busy doing something else right now.
You're Before we just had to put in these sticker albums and all the magazines to remember this stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean that was that was the that World Cup was a World Cup that I think I was 14 or 15. Well, I mean, it's a World Cup that I will remember forever.
Yeah, well, it's one of the best ones. Like top to bottom.
Pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Had some what stands out in that World Cup I mean, obviously the Argentina thing, but just the players that were playing well in the world at that time stepped up and played well in the world. Gary Lineker ended up being the Golden Boot winner. Hugo had a decent World Cup. Igor Belanov, who was just playing lights out, just played incredibly well for Russia. Really, the one big name that I could think that didn't really have as good a World Cup as one would have expected was Platini, but he still managed to break Brazilian hearts, and he broke Italian hearts too. So he knocked out Italy and Brazil. For having a subpar World Cup. Because I mean, he at the time, he and Maradona at that time were probably would probably been considered the best players in the world.
Yeah, they were.
Platini. But anyway, yeah. So they're playing Chile. So this is a rematch of Mexico's most infamous night, La Boda Roja.
Ouch.
And sadly, probably the episode the episode of our best podcast ever was the 7-0. Just a horrendous effort, and this was after Mexico had beaten Chile. So to give everyone a false sense of hope, they beat Chile 1-0 in a game where Chile should have scored like how many goals?
About the same, John. I wouldn't say everyone because I had.
You had your reservations. You did.
Yeah.
That cuidado. Time for Ronnie. Oh, that's not what it was. I hit the wrong button. Here it is. There you go. You were calling the Foco Rojos. Actually, you and Ron both.
I was.
Had prendido las alarmas.
And we were. What was it? It was a Jamaica game. I was at the Jamaica game, and I was with former Cantinero Pern, and Amy was there. Amy from Foodmex and some other. It was a group of us, Johnny Rico and a couple. I forgot the other. I know John Arnold was there. We were in the press box, and some other guy. I can't remember his name. And
was it Marquitos?
I think no. I would remember Marquitos. And I was like halftime, and I'm telling these guys the way Mexico's playing, if they face one of these teams with the good delanteros, they're not going to forgive as much. And we're looking at a pretty bad result. And pretty much that's what ended up happening. Why are you opening up old wounds, John?
Hey, it's because Mexico's playing. What else are we going to talk? What else
are we going to talk about? Lime.
I mean, should we bring up? Mexico played Chile in the 2007 Copa America. It was a 0-0 draw.
It is one of the most recent. Yeah.
I mean, it is what everyone is thinking about.
Wait, didn't they play him? Didn't they play him again afterwards?
I don't think so. I think that this is the first time they've played since.
This is the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but it's a juveniles. They're not. And Chile.
Well, the juveniles played today, and Mexico did beat them 3-1, I think. They're at the Centro de Alto. Hey, where would our Centro de Alto Rendimiento be?
Oh man, good.
Torrance.
I don't know. We're too spread out, John. Everyone's all over.
That is true. I was hoping that we would have more folks participate. We're hoping that Daniel Preciado joins us here on the CantinaMX podcast. And then of course the next game, Joel, is going to be against Costa Rica, and that will be in Monterrey at the Volcán, and Tuca is still the coach. Joel, according to reports, they have made inquiries with over 24 people. 24 for the uninformed, Joel, for the ignorant is 24. So 24. We're up to 25. So 25 people have gotten a call, and 25 people had said, "Let me get back to you on that."
You know who was not?
People call your people.
You know who was not in that list?
Who's that?
Piojo.
That's right.
Oh man. So it makes me think that he is on that list. If he wins something. If he wins. Which is
Well,
now the league. He
the
just
reality is that they're waiting for the league to be over.
yeah, they're not gonna pay. They're not gonna be giving
So what's going to end up happening, Joel, is that Cabezon Luna is going to end up coaching Mexico for
he's get
a
well
few weeks until they find the new guy.
well before we get on with the Mexico list, John,
Oh,
we should point out that Costa Rica also doesn't have a coach yet. And neither does US. So the three strongest teams in the region.
now, hang on.
Yes.
There has been news. I don't know if you were going to get to that or not.
Yes.
You were. Well, why don't you get to one and I'll get to the other?
Okay, well, for Costa Rica, I do know that they reached out to Matosas.
Not only have they
So,
reached out, but they I believe that they expect the contract to be signed imminently.
oh, well, that would be interesting. He's an interesting coach. So let's see where that goes.
I think it's a good fit for both. Because
Yeah,
I think that he likes not having the spotlight so glaring that he can actually work and do stuff. And I think that Costa Rica is just perfect for him. It is a perfect spot for him to coach the way he does. So I think
yeah,
that'll work out for them very well.
agreed.
So the news I have, Hoyle, is that last week in the Dallas Morning News, my friend Silvana Pagliuca had a report that Oscar Pareja, the FC Dallas coach, is on the very short list of candidates for U.S. soccer, and that would be a very good fit as well.
Yeah, that's a coach you've been pushing for a long time, John.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what he's done at FC. I mean, name me a player from FC Dallas.
Name me a player from FC Dallas.
Tell me who plays for. Tell me who FC Dallas star is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly, they're first place.
I think I knew Cubo, and he's back in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, Zlatan, Wayne Rooney, Carlos Vela. There's the guy at Atlanta, Miron. Mauro Matosas is having a great year with Houston. But name me one player for FC Dallas. And they don't have a designated player, and they are in first place in the Western Conference and have been consistently very decent for 4 or 5 years. And he does it with players that come up through his system. How many MLS teams do that? Very few.
Yeah, I think that's for what the US. I mean, for where their team is at now, with a lot of young talent. I think you would want a coach like that.
He is an excellent coach, and I mean for what U.S. soccer wants to do, I would almost say that if he ends up being a successful coach, he should just stay on and just run the program, because he would be, at that point in his career, it would be very good.
Well, another name has recently joined the fray. Yes, it's this was reported by Grant Wall, and he said Mourinho, who's he seems to be on the outskirts at Manchester United.
Well, Mo has always said he wanted to coach over here, so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, what wouldn't surprise me is because Man U is owned by
the Glazers.
American.
Yeah.
So I mean, how could they recover? Because I think if they were to sack him, I think they would owe him about $30 million. And the Man U faithful, I think they're dreaming with Zidane. They want Sisu at Old Trafford. But that's just, he would command a lot of money. I mean, you're looking at very expensive just to switch coaches. But if the Glaciers could work something with USSF, you know,
That
they
is
could.
a very interesting um, plan of action that you have laid out there, Joel.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, well, they are Americanos, you know, they could easily work something out here, and I do think Mo enjoys the spotlight. Uh, I do think it's changed a lot the way it is
Well,
with a lot of clubs with how much more power the players have now.
well, here's
You
the
know,
thing
especially in
with Mo
Europe.
is that his act has grown very tired in Europe,
Yeah,
but
but I mean, he
here
could get away. Yeah,
he'll be a huge hit.
yeah, he could get away with it, man. He
Yeah,
could.
exactly. Because
I mean, Jurgen was getting away with it.
yeah,
Jurgen's,
but Mourinho is 1,000 times the coach Jurgen Klinsmann was.
yeah, that. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Jurgen was getting away with it.
Right.
You know, he was. You know, he had a feud with Landon, who's the U.S. biggest
Right.
player ever, and to leave him out of a World Cup and all that, and he to get away with it, you still have people defending him for that. Yeah, Mourinho would be able to do what he wants.
Exactly. And let's be honest, out of any CONCACAF nations, there's only one place that Mourinho would even consider coaching.
Not only that, he's known as a defensive coach, and the U.S. has, for the most part, they're more of a defensive team, even though
Well, they
a
have
lot
to
of
be
their fans
because
don't like
they
to
just
admit it.
don't have the players who have learned the way of of a possession based style. So why force yourself to play it? Play
Yeah,
what you know best, which is cage and counter. I mean, that is what they do. And frankly, they have some players right now that should scare a lot of people because they have some incredibly fast and talented, very skilled ball handlers that are out on the wing right now. The what I do think, Joel, and I do think that we'll probably see the balance of power in between Mexico and the U.S. shift a little bit over the next few years. I do think that the U.S. Is a little better positioned right now as far as the players that they have. I think they have a little bit more depth than Mexico, but I do think that Mexico has the ability to develop more players quickly. So I think that for that, I do think the U.S. is going to win the Gold Cup, and they'll probably get a leg up there. So just Mexico fans should start to come to terms with that. Before it, for whatever reason, always seems to shock people when they lose to the U.S. That always cracks me up. But anyway, so Oscar Pareja, Mourinho. If you want the quick fix, I would, if you want the Band-Aid, if you want to patch the raft in the ocean, go with Mourinho. But if you want to build something for the next 10 to 15 years, they're hosting a World Cup too. In fact, they are hosting the World Cup 2026. Then maybe Pareja's your guy. But I do think that U.S. soccer, would love to have a big name like that because then they'll again, who's gonna get their name in the papers? Mourinho or Oscar Pareja?
yeah. No, he's gonna attract a lot of media attention, a lot of the foreign press as well.
Right. So that the fact that he's on the outs with Manchester United, so I think that we have to put that now at a better than 50% chance that Mourinho's the coach.
Wow, yeah. If he wants to.
Oh, but he's been on the record as saying that he would love to coach the U.S. or coach in the U.S. He wants to do it. I'm not saying he wants to coach the U.S. national team, but he has said that he wants to coach it. He wants to coach in the U.S.
Yeah, and he'd be able to win. There's winnable stuff here. League of Nations, Gold Cup. and
You can go to the Confed Cup.
can go to the World Cup. I mean, there'll be plenty for him to do or to add to his resume.
I'll tell you what, if it is Mourinho, then you know who should move on Oscar Pareja. Boy, this would just drive the Mexican press absolutely bananas.
Another Colombian.
Another Colombian who coached in MLS.
I was gonna. I thought you were gonna say to put Pareja with under 23.
No.
And then if
Right.
things aren't as saucy with Mourinho or he decides to leave after the 4 years.
Well, I will tell you what makes Pareja, in my opinion, so one, he does not talk down to folks. I think that's what people just got so feared. That they really just couldn't handle with Osorio was that Osorio just had this arrogance about him.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. I mean, that's just the way he was. He was very cerebral, and that's fine. And the reality situation is that Pareja is kind of the exact opposite of that. I'm not saying that he's like a piojo with a press or anything like that. I mean, he's a very serious guy, but but basically, if you respect him, he'll respect you. And that's what I've noticed. And on top of everything else, I mean, he's been able to, and this is just Dallas, and he's done very well in scouting the DFW area to bring in the players through the home. And then again, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And they have some quality players.
It sounds like you've had brunch with Pareja.
I haven't had brunch
on more than one occasion.
I haven't had brunch. I mean, I haven't had brunch with Pareja. All I'm saying is for what he has been able to accomplish, to me, just goes to show how much talent he has, and what he does. I mean, he has been very successful with that. Now, what he hasn't been able to do, they did win a U.S. Open Cup, is win the MLS Cup. So I think that's the one big part of his resume that is definitely missing. So
if it could get both, that would be a coup. Because you would want someone that knows the region and that knows the local players.
Right.
And I think that to have maybe as an assistant or the youth coach, and then he also helps with the senior team. I think that would just be perfect for what the U.S. wants.
So here we are talking about names. We're talking about Costa Rica. We're talking about the U.S.
Yes.
But we're not talking about Mexico. Because frankly, I mean, it's pretty obvious that this. They've talked to 25. Now, do you believe this number of 25?
I do, John, but I feel that a lot of these guys they had talked to them before. I think they talked to them before the World Cup, because I think they knew that Osorio wasn't going to stay,
Right.
But, I mean, barring a really good performance. But other than
the number just looks so sad because it just, I think of, imagine you, to use the San Pauli reference, in a San Pauli like situation. If you're, if you're at a bar and you go up to 25 different targets, let's say, I don't want to. And you miss 25 times. I mean, that's just. I mean, that looks pretty pathetic.
It does.
How many of those 25 do you think would told Mexico? You're just not my type.
But you know what? That guy's most likely to. The guy that does that, they're more likely to leave home with at least someone, compared to the one that did it. that just sat there, at the corner.
And didn't do anything.
But you know what, John? I don't think they were all formal. Some could have just been inquiries.
Right.
And I mean, we're talking about Mex, which is, a novelero country.
Well, right, and
We have
who runs
a
the
flair for the dramatic.
the ones that
Yeah,
make the novelas?
the ones that make the novelas. So I think this is all just part of like keeping interest with the national team, and then just like
So you're saying
just
it's a smoke screen.
yeah, it's exaggerated. It is
It is
like Bielsa's name popped up, but granted, if they did talk to him, it's obvious they didn't once he took the job with what's that team in England?
Leeds.
Lead, yes, it was way before, and they
I
probably just
watched
contacted him.
I watched Leeds United. I was in Ireland.
Nice.
When it was either the first year of the Premier League or the last year of whatever they had before the Premier League.
Yeah.
The league, whatever that was called. And they won, and Manchester United won, but if Leeds won, they were in. And I'm going to drop it on you, because I don't know if you know this or not. But the guy that scored the winning goal for Leeds that day was Eric Cantona. He was with Leeds before he was United. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then he went on to become a iconic player with Man U. Good game to watch there, John.
Yeah. So anyway, Bielsa's with Leeds.
Yeah, I don't think they, if they did talk to him, it must have been, before the World Cup, around that time when Bielsa didn't have a job. So some of these names, even with Almeida, his name popped up, and they were to talk to Almeida, he would say a million times yes.
Right.
he would not say no. But I think they probably like just reached out to be like, what would the wages be, or maybe sort of like just to get some basic info down. But I don't think most of these have been formal. Maybe very few have been formal. So yeah, I think just very few. Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yes, I agree with you there. I think that out of the I think some I'm a little more serious than others. But I do think that I mean, again, there's no hurry, and I get doing your due diligence. At 25, I think a lot of it was, hey, find out if person X, if you would at least take a call,
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was part of the the list as you were saying, but I just think that the that when the choice is made, it's going to be somebody that's going to be very familiar with Mexican soccer. So.
Yeah, and I think because Piojo was interviewed, he did an interview recently for ESPN Deportes, and they asked him, did FMF reach out to you? Because there's this list that got leaked and blah, and he's like, nope. he said no, and he sounded pretty sad. But I still think that he's in line. I do think that even though he didn't, if he could make America campeón, I think he would be one of the candidates. And I still think Tuca is, despite some of the stuff that went on recently when he said.
No estoy buscando tres patas al pinche gato que no tiene.
When he said that, his club wasn't willing to negotiate his transfer, because they would have to pay him 2 years,
right?
And that's about
Like,
I'll say about 8 million, maybe.
Yeah.
He makes about 4 a year.
it's a
or
nice
something.
chunk of money. It's a nice chunk of money.
That's 8, and then he will want about the same for the national team, which is like 4 years. Yeah, you're looking at quite some money right there for the coach. Yeah, but so who knows? Who knows what will happen there?
Man, that just there it is. God dang it! I was trying to find freaking my little calculator thing, and it was under adding. It's been a while since I've done this.
I'm bad at math.
It was an adding machine. What's the other one I would have done there? I would have also, had I thought of it quick enough, I would have gone.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
So there you have it. So it's going to cost a lot of money for Tuca. I think Almeida is still a candidate. I think again, if your agent that's stupid, then get another agent. Because then that would be a phone call. Who would say, if you had another agent, we would probably consider interviewing you for Almeida, because I do think that he's available right now. And the name that I keep bringing up is the guy in Monterrey. He would be another Diego Alonso. I think he would be another one who knows the league.
He would have to win though, John. They're gonna want someone that wins the league title.
He's won the league title. He's won the Conca Champions. He took a Mexican team the furthest in the Club World Cup. They went to penalties in the semifinal against. Extra time in the semifinal against. Was it Flu? No, it wasn't Flu. It was Grêmio. I think was it Grêmio? It was a Brazilian side. So he has the chops. Not sure. It looks like Joel has muted himself, so we can now attack. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I'm here. I was washing my hands.
I do think, yes. Please wash your hands, Joel. Especially now as we're entering flu season. He is the one that I would keep an eye on too. He is my dark horse candidate. I just don't think, as much as I want Tuca to be on the team, and it makes so much sense. I just don't think he wants to do it. I think the only way Tuca takes it is if, hey, look, let me take it after. I don't want to do the moleros. Let me take it after the goal. I'll just do the hex in the World Cup. Yeah, I think that's the only way he'd do it. I don't think he wants to put up with any more of the ennejadas that happen with the national team, as you said, the novela that is the national team.
Yeah, what surprised me is how much traction the rumors of Martino is getting. Tata Martino, and I would think, if you're FMF, and if Tuca doesn't want it, and you have Beckerman available, he would seem like the more ideal choice than Tata Martino.
He would. Now I know that Beckerman played or coached rather in Toluca. Has Martino coached ever in Mexico? Did he hit like Tigres or Monterrey? Because that'd be about the only other places he would go.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I do know that Teclos did go up to Atlanta to talk to him, because when they played in Nashville, Teclos took a little detour.
Yeah.
They went over there.
Yeah, that was another one. So who knows?
Yes, I just I just don't think that Tuca's heart, as much as I want to think that it is, I just don't think Tuca's heart is in it to do it. And I don't think that, again, I just knowing who he is, it would have to be on his terms, as you've pointed out many times, and I just don't think they're ever gonna. They're just never gonna give in to everything he wants, and Tuca's gonna be like, all right, then it ain't gonna happen. So
yeah, and then it will cost about 20 million.
Right. You know,
just on wages.
which is how much we had to pay Fernando when Fernando went over to another show. He had to. It was a $20 million transfer.
Yeah. You know, I do think FMF could afford that. I just don't think they want to set that precedent.
No, they don't.
Because then you're gonna have to be paying that to other coaches. I think Osorio got paid like 1.5 million.
I see. You doing all right there, Joel? It sounds like you're a little distracted. Are you everything
No,
all right?
I'm good. I was just eating something.
Oh, okay. All right. See, you could have said, "Oh, you know." So if not Tuca, then so Joel, is it going to be a Liga MX or are they going to go after one of these exotics?
See, now they have me confused, but I'm still on board with preferring a Liga MX coach. You know, just makes more sense to me. You want someone that understands, not only knows but understands the players.
Well, not just the players, but you know how to deal, and again, how to deal with the league and with the teams, and you know because of the fact that there's this isn't a World Cup where we're seeing 11 guys go over to Europe like we have in previous. In fact, nobody. Well, Eddie Gutierrez made the move. He made the move without even playing a minute in the World Cup, even though he was on the World Cup team. So, it just so the players are going to be. It's going to be a Liga MX based squad, and we'll have to see how that plays out. But I do think that because of that, it should be a Liga MX or a coach that at least has an understanding of Liga MX more so than just bringing in a guy blind like Sven.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that Sven fell because he did fall in love with Leandro? Did he fall in love with Leandro because of his style of play or because of his beautiful golden locks?
I think both. I mean, I like the style of play. I like watching Pumas just because Leandro sometimes.
He was a pretty good player.
Yeah, we missed out on him. He should have been nationalized a lot younger.
Right. Yeah, he was. He's actually of Patiño's assistant right now. So when Patiño inevitably goes, and it will happen, I think Leandro is going to be the next Pumas coach, and I would be totally down with that. That actually gives me hope for Pumas that they're in good hands, and they actually have been better this year, Pumas. So that's
and without their top striker,
it's good to see. Yeah, who's with Benfica on the bench over, so it a move that has not quite worked out well. I'm sure he made some money, but as far as playing, not quite so well. So they did give up a 2-goal lead to Puebla of all teams. You can't give up 2-goal leads to Puebla, for God's sakes. So and I think they have somebody important. I don't know if it's Tigres or something where it could be they could have a rough go of it.
Pulling up the chart, John.
Yeah, pulling up the chart. Let's see. Oh no, it's Joel, frankly, we should be ashamed of ourselves. We should be ashamed of ourselves, Joel, because it's.
Why?
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Yes, so Pumas back to Guadalajara to see if they can make it 2 in a row after not winning for 36 years. Let's see if we can if we can start the longest current win streak in the Omni life.
Yeah, they did win in the Copa.
They did. They did win in the Copa.
In the Copa, yeah.
but they lost last. Pumas in penalty. I don't think I've ever seen Pumas ever win penalties. Actually, I should probably amend that. I have seen Pumas win
We
games on penalty kicks. As a matter of fact,
we, we should jump into league because it's a good transition now. And this
it's how interesting, Joel, that you've chosen this moment to decide that we need to segue into another topic. All right, we will.
why? Was there something you wanted to?
Well, yeah, I was just saying that I was telling myself, man, when have I ever seen Pumas win a game on penalty kicks? And I was
Oh
thinking,
man.
have I? And then I remembered one.
Okay, go. Which was that?
Oh, it was in 2004.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The guy that missed for Chivas, they kicked him out the next season.
Oof.
The player that missed. He's a good player. Can't remember his name, but
Was Chepo the coach back then, or had he not?
It was Hans.
Oh well, ooh, really?
I'm pretty sure if it's not,
I could have used that all this time with Profe, and I've never taken advantage of that.
with Profe Cambia Rayas, yeah.
Because he is, it's funny how you're a tower man. You're like House Frey, the twin towers there, the Torres, and Prof is a Westerhoff guy. I'm House Bora and have been my entire life. It's why I like Tuca so much, because it's it's the Bora style of play, because I think it fits Mexico best. That's when they've had the most success.
Yes.
And that is so frustrating.
I just remember the guy that they missed. It was Medina.
Yeah.
Not Alberto Medina, but Rafa Medina.
Right. And so I could have used this whole time with the Prof, because he's House Westerhoff for sure.
He is. He's
House Hans.
He's the North remembers.
That's right.
He's always loyal to the House of Hans.
That's right.
To the House of Tulips. No, but John, this match week 12 has a lot of good matchups.
It does. It has a lot of very, very sexy matchups for Liga MX games.
Yeah.
I mean, just Saturday alone. I mean, the triple header on Saturday is, you can't get any bigger than that. You have Cruz Azul playing Monterrey.
Yeah. Two candidates to win the league title.
And then after that, who's playing Joel?
Tigres America. And
the two most successful teams in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Aunque nos duela, Joel.
And then you have Chivas Pumas.
Es como un zapatazo en los huevos. I'm sorry, what was it? And then Guadalajara, UNAM.
Yeah, that's wow.
Has Chivas always been Chivas? Or, I mean, I know they're Chivas, but like when people refer to them, do they refer to them as Chivas or Guadalajara?
No, mostly Chivas. You rarely hear Guadalajara.
Because when I was a kid, when I first started liking Pumas, I had no idea what their name. Like I knew that they were Los Pumas, but I didn't know what their team name was. And then they would show like the little lower third graphic to show the score, and it said Universidad. So forever they were, at least when I was a kid, that's what they were known as, was Universidad. And then later they started putting UNAM on there. So yeah, but them being called, Pumas, way they're just called Pumas now, is and that's kind of a recent thing. It's of course, I'm pretty old, so maybe it's not as recent as I would like to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a triple cartelera. That is like heavyweight after heavyweight after heavyweight. Those are three. It must be sweeps in Mexico, because that's the only reason that they would have that.
You have which is another good matchup.
Which one, Joel? I'm sorry, we you cut out. What was the other?
Toluca versus Pachuca on Sunday.
So Los Hermanitos. So you have like the Big Six and Los Hermanitos playing on Sunday.
and it's not considered a classic or anything, but it is a derby. Puebla versus Lobos Buap.
Is that going to be on Sunday?
That's on Sunday. These are the two.
So that's the nightcap.
Yeah.
El Clásico Poblano.
El Clásico Poblano. Friday is the least. You have Veracruz versus Necaxa, and then you have Santos versus Atlas. Santos has been pretty consistent. They've been doing pretty good,
right?
Despite selling off like their top players, the majority of their top players. Furch's been really like consistent.
He has been, and I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but Furch got the game winner, and we piped in that we used to say it, and I think you were the one that coined it, Joel, was when he would miss the goal, you say La Furchó.
No, that was Dan.
Was it Dan? Did he coin the phrase?
Dano.
I thought it was you.
No,
but now,
it was Dano.
But now, goals are furchazos. So he's gone from being, a verb to describe failure to
yeah, that was during the Chepo era, because I do think if Furch would have been a bit more spot on, old Chepo would have lasted a bit longer. But he missed. He was going almost on every other week. He would miss some incredible sitters, and then the following season you had Di Giannini just exploding into the scene, and it surprised me that he got sold outside of the league. I was thinking he was going to be a hot commodity, but maybe we'll see him in a year or two. And then Furch, all of a sudden, he remembered he could score. So he was always, what was he at Veracruz? But he was always very, one of those players you could count on for scoring big goals. And he's back to doing that. So they play Atlas, John, and Atlas finally won a game.
Stop it. Stop it. I don't believe you. Who'd they beat?
Nobody. I think it was Toluca. Out of all teams.
No mames, güey.
Hold on, let me see.
I don't believe you.
It was Toluca. It was 2-0. And they won at home at the Jalisco. So.
I mean, when you see an Atlas fan, don't you just want to just give him a big hug? I mean, seriously. I mean,
kind of.
I mean, they have been, and I actually have a very someone that I've known a long time is an Atlas fan. I won't mention any names.
Los académicos.
To protect the innocent.
Yeah.
But he was telling me that the reason that he became an Atlas fan was because he was he was living in Mexico City at the time, and he was going to a certain school, but all of the kids that went to this school lived in a different part of town, so he didn't get to see his friends as often. He would get to hang, so he would be basically stuck at home on a Saturday night, and Atlas for years played at 9:00 on Saturday night.
Yes, they did.
And so that was the game he watched, and that was his team, was Atlas. He became an Atlas fan because of that, because he was
Atlas. I think they're paying the iron price. Atlas, way back when, we're going back before the 50s, and they were known as the Académicos,
right?
And the Margaritas, and that was really their nickname. And this was a team that they were well off. They had money, and it's part of why they make fun of Chivas. So a lot of the Atlas players, they had gone to England, and they had studied in England. So their claim was that they played the real football. They played the Queen's football, John. They learned it. They learned it right where the sport was born.
Right.
And so compared to them, Guadalajara, Chivas, they look like goats running in a field. That's kind of where the name got. It was during one of the matches. One of the reporters, most likely an Atlas fan, he's saying that that's what Guadalajara looked like, a bunch of goats running in the field. So I think all that came back, all of their excessiveness.
Interesting. So because of this academic reporter writing this line, giving birth, begatting, if you will, this the nickname of what has turned out to be Mexico's third most popular team behind Club America, of course, and Pumas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was from the article. It was from I forget the match, but the reporter did write that. We had to be pretty biased to go to criticize. But yeah, and soon after Chivas started winning, and because of that article, that's how they would make fun of the team and the fans of the team. They'll call them goats. And then after the team started winning, the Campeonísimo era came soon after.
Sure.
And because Atlas won the league title in 51. Campeonísimo era started around 56. So 5 years later, man, it was just Atlas who, man. Everyone just forgot, Everything became, Guadalajara became Chivas, man.
I mean, when I was a kid, and then through, actually, I have a funny story about this. And then through, as I started watching Atlas, they were just terrible. I mean, just terrible. I mean, they were always just hanging on to not get relegated. They're just a bad team. And when I left Mexico in the mid '80s, and I didn't get to come back as often as I would like, but one time I came back, and it was the first time I was actually the first time I've been back in Mexico City. And at the airport on TV, they were showing highlights of what I had to assume was the final. And Atlas had won the game, so I was like, oh my God, has everything gone to hell so bad that now Atlas is winning Liga MX? Is what I was thinking. But it turned out, of course, they didn't win anything. They were just showing highlights of some Atlas game for some reason. So no, the answer was very quickly no, that Atlas did not win the league title.
I started watching, and I only got to see a few games when Bielsa was the coach. He was there. Bielsa was just getting a start. He had been at New World, and then but the majority was once La Volpe took over. But that was pretty much the team that Bielsa had built. Him, and he had some of the other guys like.
So you're saying that Bielsa could go to La Volpe and say, ese equipo, yo lo armé.
Yeah, but when Bielsa was doing this whole thing with he improved Atlas youth development and scouting. There was two guys there, and that was El Güero Real and Efraín Flores. Efraín Flores has been at Pachuca, which, not surprisingly, has had one of the top, youth development. And Güero Real was at Chivas for years, and he's at Toluca, which has been there for about a year now, John. I'm going to give him 2 more before we can see results.
Who's that? I'm sorry?
El Güero Real.
Oh.
The guy that El Profe Cambia Rayas loves to hate.
Oh, isn't El Güero Real, isn't he the Cabezón Luna of Chivas? Won't he come crawling back when they really need him?
Not anymore, because you have who?
Well, let me ask you this: Is El Güero Real part of the House Fry Tower Alliance?
He is.
Ah, okay. So when they come back, he comes back.
Well, that's old school Guadalajara right
Well,
there, man. Those
yes,
are the
I
old
get it.
school families, and those are like the old gods, man. This other guy, Higuera, is like the new ones.
Right.
So he wants none of that. He doesn't want these guys stealing his mojo. Because I mean, yeah, I kind of don't blame them. They just have that much more influence and weight in that area. Just because they've been around for a long time. And
Right. Well, I mean, they will be back. They will be back at some point uh, in uh, in Guadalajara, right? Which of course means that the Güero Real will also be back. So where is he again, Joel?
it's at Toluca.
But he's not the head coach of Toluca.
No,
Cristante
no,
is the head coach.
no. I mean, Will Real, he got to coach, but his fort has always been youth development. That's
So that's
been
is that what he's
he.
doing at Toluca right now?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. I mean, that's even when he started. The first place he went to learn about youth development was Pumas. We're going way back to the 80s, man. So he went to the place to be if you wanted to learn
That
about
would have been
youth development in Mexico.
yeah
Yeah,
for those who don't know back then. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Pumas fan, but there were basically three teams that supplied national team players. It was Pumas, America, and Chivas, and that was it. And the majority of them were Pumas players, and that's just I'm not blowing smoke up people's butts. That's just the reality. That's how it was. It was the most consistent factory generator of players that Mexico had at that time.
yeah.
It's just a
For many
fact.
years, yeah,
Base of the national team for 20 years. It's just a fact. It's
yeah.
science. It's science, Joel.
it's it's science. No, but so Corral went there, and then he went to Ajax. He went to Ajax to study. And then he came back and he got to work in Atlas.
So
And
his
it
next
was
step
when
would have to
Bielsa was
be
there.
to go to FC Dallas to see what my boy Oscar Pareja's doing.
No, I think he's learned everything. It's just I think he gets a bad rap because as a coach, and they would just throw him on. And I do think Vergara threw him under the bus a few times.
Oh,
Where
there's no question. I mean, he was a very loyal company guy,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he got
he
yeah
gave him the team under very bad,
right.
circumstances. They had sold players. He didn't buy any players. So,
Coach
that's what
coach the
stuck
team.
with fans.
Here's some
Those
handcuffs and a ball gag. Now go coach the team.
and a lot of the fans already forgot that this guy led Chivas to a Libertadores final. They don't give him much credit, but I mean, I think he deserves more than he gets. He's gotten a lot of hate, you know, but in Mexico, he's considered one of the best as far as youth development, one of the all-time best. His name's up there, John.
It's funny. I'm looking at my little chart here, Joel. So I have I don't have to tell you, but we have obviously we have so we have that, and then we have so that's two. That's two. We do have El Himno. You gotta have if you're gonna have Chivas drops, you gotta have this. In fact, I'm guessing you could probably sing along to that. You probably have that on at one point in your life, maybe had that as a ringtone. And then one that doesn't get as much play, but maybe it should. Maybe you'll convince me that this one needs a little more.
It's one of my favorites.
So we have that, and then of course, so that's four. Now, I want to be fair. So we right now it's four Chivas, and we have. So we have the one, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Oh, hit the wrong button here. Let's see. So we have more, Joel. We do have more. We have We have this one.
Tienes el alma di Bresciana, hueles a limpia rosa temprana.
So that's 5, and then we have this one.
Guadalajara, Guadalajara, sabes a
So that's really like, we really can't say that, but that it is on 2 different keys.
It is.
Just we do have that. Now moving over to the other side, we have this one. So it's now 6-2. 6-2 Chivas to America, but now it gets better. We have
Guadalajara, Guadalajara, sabes a pura tierra mojada.
that is actually not bad for Ned. He gets it pretty close. Doesn't sound bad.
Guadalajara, 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 Guadalajara.
That song is probably what, like 60, 70 years old, and you know exactly who it is singing that song. So it's now 8-2, but we're not we can't forget this oldie but a goodie. Unidos y divididos por el amor a la camiseta. So we have Chiva contra Chiva, so that's 9. That is 9 Chivas drops to only 2 America. Now we do have other America drops. I don't want to, but it's only 3 more, and it's more to mock than it is to celebrate. We have, we haven't had an Americanista for a while, so we can't. And we have the chorus, of course, and everyone's favorite, the drums. When the sad point is being made about how bad the refereeing was, we always play the drums for that.
I like the eagle screeching.
It's like playing exactly. It's like playing taps at a funeral. So, I think that goes to show that that Chivas now, is Chivas more popular, or is it just more? They just give us more material.
I think it goes back and forth as far as popularity, but they do have given more material.
Let's see, and then on Bank 3, it doesn't look like I have. But one that we haven't played in a while, Joel, because we really haven't had a situation, is one of my favorites. Is this one?
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb. I'm smart, and I want respect.
Just haven't had a reason to play that one in a while. Of course, we haven't really been on in a while either, too. So, but that one always and Joel, one that we just used to play with fervor and enjoy it, and it almost reached sad flute levels of sadness and hilarity at the same time. Was
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
It has been quite a while since we've played that.
Or sad flute. We haven't played sad flute as well.
That is true. I was going to save the sad flute for later, but yeah. So you as a Chivas fan, what does that say about this show that we have 9 Chivas drops to only 5, and of course that's that. And everybody else either has 2 or only 1.
No, I think that Chivas has provided a lot of material. I mean, the show Club de Cuervos, a lot of their storylines are based on stuff that happened at Chivas.
Right.
I
like that show.
Yeah.
Did you see the ballad of Hugo Sanchez?
I haven't. It's on my to-watch list.
You need to see it. There's a sequence in one of there's like 5 or 6 episodes, and one of the last episodes that just I was peeing myself. I was laughing so hard. It was so good. A lot of that stuff, the whole uncomfortable comedy stuff. When it's done well is good, but when it's done badly, it's just like really irritating, like uncomfortable. It's like why am I watching this? This isn't funny. And
yeah.
So there was a little of that, but overall it was good.
Oh, you mean the early seasons?
And Hugo Sanchez. Well, the early season of Club de Cuervos I thought were really funny. They were a lot more to me they were a little more entertaining because the characters were so over the top.
Yeah.
And the guy who plays Salvador, he's really good.
Oh yeah, he's
that guy's
doing the
gonna
Verizon.
Yeah, he's going to
He
be
does
a
the Verizon
superstar.
commercials.
He's going to be a superstar for sure.
Yeah, his timing is good.
Yep. Indeed it is. So, Joel, before we wrap it up here tonight, Chivas, Pumas. Does Chivas get to keep their hegemonía sobre las Pumas, donde
Yeah,
no han perdido desde 1982?
I do think they could manage a draw.
Un empate. Joel dice empate.
Yeah, and I had them making 5 points. So to my fellow Chi hermanos who are worried that, the team might not make the playoffs, if they do get that tie, they're still in good standing. They have to finish the season with 26 points.
So currently right now, Cruz Azul is still in the
yes,
in the liderato, and then followed by América, and then Santos, Monterrey, Pumas, Toluca, Tigres, Pachuca round out the top 8. Guadalajara is 9th, tied with Querétaro and Tijuana, and Pachuca actually. For Puebla is only 1 point behind, and then there's León, Morelia. Necaxa is at 11, so that's like on the teetering on the edge of probably not a chance. Lobos with 10 in Veracruz, and you're right. Atlas did win. They did get that win. So if I were Liga MX, I would be, if I were Liga MX and TV executives, I'd be looking at that top 8 and go, man, if Chivas can sneak into that top 8, that's a pretty good looking liguilla.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, Televisa like seeing a liguilla of Cruz Azul, América, Pumas, Toluca, Tigres, Guadalajara, instead of a liguilla of Pachuca, Tijuana, Puebla, León, Morelia, Necaxa, just yeah. So let's that would be good, and I've always thought that the first apertura, if we have to have the 2 seasons, I think that liguilla is always a lot more entertaining to me. A lot more, there's a lot more interest because it's also Christmas time, so it's just and then that Christmas night game for the liguilla was outstanding. Whoever thought of that, mis respetos, señores. Or what is it that the guy with the knife? He's good with the knife, and The Godfather was de salud, Don Corleone. Anyway, so we have so you say tie. I would love for Pumas to finally break this awful run of results that they've had in the regular season. Now I can't say the same for the postseason against Chivas, because I do seem to recall that Pumas does very well in the postseason against Chivas, at least in their last 2 instances. I could say that.
Yeah,
but Pumas has if 26 points is the magic number, they have 7 games to get 7 points, and with their schedule, I think that they can squeeze out. Well, now that I'm looking at it, maybe it may not be as easy as I thought. They have after this, so this was really their last.
Yeah, that's
their last chance to get points.
They face Tigres after that.
They have Tigres, Tijuana, Cruz Azul, Toluca, Santos. So like a murderer's row
compared to Chivas. Now look at Chivas' last run. I mean, they go up against Lobos, which they could easily snatch up points there. I wouldn't say easily, but
Yeah,
I mean, of all the teams, not Atlas, that's the other one you want to face.
Yeah, so it's all bottom half teams except for one. So they have Lobos, Morelia, Puebla, León, and then Tigres.
And they face Tigres last.
Right.
Which makes a big difference.
Tigres de medio pelo.
Yeah, they could very well be qualified, and Tigres, Tuca could just throw in the bench just to rest his players for the league. So right. that could very well happen, unless he's trying to protect his standing on the league, to make sure he has the, he doesn't end up playing a tough game, doesn't get paired up with one of the other stronger teams. But chances are he'll throw in some of the reserves.
Well, we'll see how that works out for those teams. But man, that just the Pumas. So Pumas needs the win here. I think is what the reality is, because getting 4 points against those teams, I think, is a little more realistic than having to get 7. I don't know if Pumas has 2 wins against the Santos and Toluca and Cruz Azul and Tigres, and they get Tijuana has been like the one team that Pumas just can't beat. And if it's in Tijuana, then look out.
Yeah, Chivas has also struggled with Tijuana away. But man, it is Liga MX. Anything can happen.
That is true.
Teams are known to lose their hot streak. Tijuana was one of the main ones when they had Travieso Guzman. They had a really hot start to the season. They were pretty much winning every home game convincingly. And then by the midpoint, I don't even know what happened. They just crashed and burned and ended up not making. They went from candidates to win the league title to not even qualifying to the playoffs.
Right. I mean, it happened to Pumas in the last season. I mean, they were, after 6 or 7 games, they were top of the league out of the 18 or 20, whatever. They had like 16 points, and then they went like on a 7-game winless streak, and had to fight and crawl to get into the Liga just so they could get their ass whipped by whoever it was they played in the first round. Just a complete capitulation.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. So there it is. Now I have to say, when it comes to what we have here available to us on our little board here, that's probably the movie that I think I have represented the most, because we have that, and then we have our.
You still want to show me your cucumber?
And of course, we have this one actually fit really well today, because you mentioned Juliet Peña.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
That doesn't sound as good, but very, very effective advice.
My advice to you is to start drinking heavily.
And of course, and then the second half of that is, you should listen to Bluto. He is pre-med. Very funny stuff. So that is so we have Chivas heavily represented, and of course we have that heavily represented as well. So that's how we roll here on the CantinaMX podcast. Is what we're trying to say. Ooh, so now, Joed, I am now bearish on Pumas' chances to make the Liguilla at this point. Because if there's a team that's got a 6-game losing streak in them, it's Pumas.
Oh man. Well, I think, to me, I'll put it at a coin toss. I would put same as with Chivas. There's a couple games that they have to win. So from the last. I wasn't expecting Chivas to beat Monterrey.
Right.
And then I had them at least getting some points at home against Querétaro, and it was the opposite. So, I expected them to lose to Monterrey and then get points from Querétaro, and they ended up doing the opposite.
Right.
They beat Monterrey, and then they lose at home to Querétaro.
Well, but they're terrible at home, and then that's the problem for Chivas is.
Well, they did win. They finally broke that winless streak, and so some of these has been growing pains. Some pretty bad mistakes from some of the young players, giving away the ball and such.
Oh, that's right. And poor Benjamin Galindo with his just a really rough autogol against Pumas.
He keeps doing autogoles, man. Since he was with Almeida.
And Mati Almeida is still, waiting by the phone.
He has an academy, John. He has his football academy.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Did you ever have that part of your life, Joel, where you had to wait by the phone for something?
Oh yeah, many
because
times.
you had to wait for the call. We had to wait. Hey, I can't go anywhere. I'm expecting a call.
Many times. I just, lay there staring at the phone, trying to will it to ring.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you were calling a girl, dial the 6th number but not the 7th, and take you like 20 minutes to work up the courage to dial that 7th number?
Oh no.
Or did you?
I didn't get that far.
Did you go? No, so not even 6, huh? You stop at 2 or 3. That is very interesting. So you're calling a draw. I'm gonna say Pumas wins it. I think that they know what's ahead of them, and they know that they absolutely have to get points. So I think that proponer, van a proponer, and I think that they're gonna get the result. And the only reason I say that is because La Chofis got hurt and he couldn't play that in the Clásico. So if La Chofis is still hurt, then I think Pumas wins going away. But if La Chofis is playing, then all bets are off.
You think Chofis is key, huh?
Yep.
Well, I think Pulido. I think you're starting to see some of these players from Chivas get their mojo back. I think Pulido's one of them. Brizuela has definitely been one of them, and Orbelin has been improving. He's getting back to his old
and you
self.
have to owe it all to Van Rankin, who has come in on loan from Pumas.
And yeah, Van Rankin he was that sleeper transfer. No one was expecting much, and I don't know if you saw one of the plays he did where he went through 2 players. He looked, man, that was just GOAT ranking right there, man. That little play he did. Yeah, it was for the goal against America. The way he.
Oh yeah, that was him.
That was him who did the setup, and it was.
Yeah, because I mean, like that goal was better because of what he did than the actual play on the goal itself.
Yeah. Well, Pulido just had to tap it in, but
right.
he's been, I think Chivas hasn't had a player like that since Ramon Morales, and they came under similar. They came under similar situations where Chivas had sold Ramon Ramirez, and Morales came in, and he was just expected to be like a backup player, and he ended up just being one of the club's most emblematic players, most consistent players. And it's kind of the same now when you had like Chivas selling Pizarro, and then they bring like Van Rankin and no one expecting much, and he's quickly becoming, you could say arguably he's one of the better players right now. He's becoming a key player.
I think he's been their best player, honestly. I mean, that is the most consistent.
Yeah, I have to agree. And so, I mean, if he maintains that level, he could be up there, It's one of the symbolic. He's going to become one of the símbolos Chivas.
Yeah, ídolo is he?
Yeah, he should, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he came when the team needed a player like that. Team was calling for Pulido to be that player, and Pulido he buckled, man. He had to go to counseling.
Did he have to go to Colombia? Did they send him to Colombia?
I don't know. I don't think they did. But
so it wasn't a complete breakdown then.
Well,
it didn't warrant a trip to Colombia.
No, that wasn't for breakdowns. That was for. It was weird. I got to hear like one of the Chiva players talked about one of the exercises they had them do in Colombia, and they had them kind of dress up like a bum and stand in a corner and ask for money.
Wow.
So maybe we gotta do that to Profe Cambia Rayas, Just give him an exercise. Just one weekend.
Make his U6s do that.
Could sell him chiclets.
That's right.
But he Cardoso admitted that Pulido was receiving some therapy, and right after he came back, he scored 2 goals. 2 games straight. He could have had 3 goals, but one of his goals was called off. It looked pretty legit. So I'm hoping he continues and he stays like that. But I do think like Van Rankin and uh and Brizuela just stepping up big time. I think it's inspired some of these other guys to step it up and to have confidence again, because I think they had lost a lot of confidence, thinking like, oh well, we suck now because all these guys are gone.
They weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. But Van Rankin came in and saved the day. So I think
Yeah.
when Chivas win the title, and 9 months from now in the hospital, the kids will be named Brian Van Rankin Rodriguez.
Yeah. Uh, I'll be happy to leave. Yeah, I still think they could qualify, and then next season, I think they could bring in like 2 good players, and then I would.
I
push
know
for
we
that.
haven't been on in a while, Joel, but I cannot, in good faith, continue to do this podcast without reminding our audience that after week 2, you suggested to Chivas fans that they go on loan and root for another team.
No, I didn't say that, John.
And
it's recorded
for the upcoming season because ya estuvo after week 2 for you.
I said to not have high expectations. Like the goal is to qualify to league and don't expect much more. That was my take. If they qualify, consider it a successful season. If they didn't, it's not so bad just because they're rebuilding. That continues to be my take. I think next season with 2 good players coming in, they could once again challenge.
I do think that you are definitely onto something there, Joel.
Yeah, because they had a bunch of young players that they're not really bad. They just need more, more time to gel, more exposure, more playing time.
Well,
that's just what they
sent
needed.
the Rolando kid, the one they got from Santos. He's at Zacatepec.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how many goals he has there, but at least he's getting playing time. And they have the guys Sandoval has done well. A lot of the young guys, they had a really young guy start the Clásico.
Yeah, Sandoval's the guy I forgot to mention, and yeah, he was the guy that was brought in, and then Mati didn't want to play him. I guess he didn't convince him, so he wasn't playing him.
Well, Mati was bringing him off the bench. He convinced him some.
Yeah, but he was supposed to get groomed to be like a starter,
Right.
But who knows? Yep. But that's all that, John. I have to get going.
It is time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like they've been begging you the whole show.
Oh snap!
No,
nah.
I'm just kidding. I only say that I feel like I can only say that to you as one married man to another. I would never, if you were. So I understand that I do it in the purest faith and the best of intentions. Porque yo entiendo, Joel. No, seriously, it's fine. Joel, I'm glad to have you back here in the US of A. I'm glad. I'm sure you. Oh, we didn't get a chance to talk about your trip. We'll have to do that when we have more people.
We didn't. Well, I mean, I would say the highlight. I got to meet up with Martin del Palacio. Had not seen him in years, since 2006 to be exact. I was part of his bullpen for it was I believe Excelsior newspaper. So I worked with him during the World Cup, covering matches. So I hadn't seen him since then, and we met up. Right, we met up after it was the Barcelona PSV Champions League game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Me dormí, John, because I should have gotten tickets ahead of time. But I just, I wasn't even looking at the calendar. I got there and I was like, oh, there's a game today. But yeah, that was pretty neat. Catching
I
up
think
with him
I
again.
think that's an experience that I think that even I mean like I've never met your wife. I don't know if she's a soccer fan or not, but it seems like even for non-soccer fans to go to that stadium,
Yeah, the
watch
new
that team,
camp.
I mean, it's got to be just that's an experience that even if you're not, it's like you probably given opportunity, it would be something to catch, but
Yeah.
but I understand, yeah.
No,
But it didn't end up happening for you to
no,
go to the.
no. I'll say anyone if you want tickets, get them ahead of time, man. Estoy muy agringado. Right here, you could pretty much go the day of the game and get tickets. I
Right.
mean, for most games, for most games.
Well, I'm sure that there were
But
people that were probably standing outside the Camp Nou
oh
with.
yeah, but they were up there in price. So I was
Oh, so
like,
you tried. You tried to go.
No, I looked up. I looked up
Oh,
what they were going for, and it was
on
already.
a StubHub.
Yeah, man. Even yeah, they were already pretty pricey now. Uh, yeah, but for anyone that is gonna go, just plan it ahead of time, as far as you can, and you won't have any problems, and you'll get the best prices.
Indeed. So you went to Barcelona. You went to, was it Granada?
Yeah, I went to Granada, and then I was in Sevilla, and then I went down to Lisbon,
Right.
and then I was in Foz do Arelo, just a small town an hour out of Lisbon.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like a beach town. So I was there for a few days, and then came
That's
back.
nice. So north or south of Lisbon?
I don't know, man. I'm really bad at that. I was by the playa, dude.
Yeah. Did you go swimming?
No, it's cold, dude.
Oh, I
That
know.
water is really cold.
Hey, you don't have to tell me. I've been in that water.
It's like no.
I thought it was gonna be like Acapulco, running in. Ooh, it's gonna be.
It's freezing cold. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, for the rest of the trip, we used the ocean. We threw our bottles of water in the ocean to cool them down. That's what the ocean was used for.
Yeah.
It was so cold. But anyway, so that sounds like a pretty amazing trip. We'll have to.
Yes.
Out of everything that you saw and did, is there one thing that stands out, like the one thing you're not gonna remember for the rest of your life?
Oh, I was in Granada. So there's like I can't remember the name, but they have like the gypsy caves.
Right.
You could go up like a hill, and they're like these homes that are like pretty much hole in the wall, and they do like gypsy shows there. A lot of like the
Right.
flamenco music and dance. So I got to be in one of those homes, and I got to see a show, and that was very memorable.
And really, that's interesting. Yeah, I think you posted some video of that.
Yeah, and a picture. I got to get a picture of
Yeah.
one of the gypsy ladies.
Did you dance with one of the gypsy ladies?
No,
No.
I can't.
You
I
didn't
can't keep
leave.
up with that.
You didn't leave by being a recipient of a gypsy curse. I hope.
No, no.
I hope you were respectful.
I was no very.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because that's that would be, that sounds amazing. That sounds like a really really great experience. I've had very limited experience in Spain. I've always wanted to go. And how was how was Martin? What did you guys talk about? Did you guys talk about the show?
We ended up talking about football, which that we caught up a little, and I thought we were just gonna talk about random stuff, and it ended up being a lot of football talk.
Yeah. Did you guys have was it cathartic? Did you get some stuff off your chest? Did you
No,
peel another layer off the Juana Seves football onion?
no, it's not
All
nothing
right.
like that.
Not
Just had
not
some.
like the first few CantinaMX shows for you.
No, not at all.
All right.
No, not like that.
So what are is it, are some of the is that some of you guys you would be willing to share here on the show, or was it a a confidential conversation?
No, just random stuff, you know. But for him, I don't know if I wanna say.
No, of course. I mean, we understand.
Yeah, he has some. He's talked to us about it. You know, he's doing NFL. He's. I think he got hired to do NFL, so he might be coming to LA soon. So
Right.
that's one of the things. Yeah, we were talking about.
Well, that'll be. Maybe I will have an opportunity to finally meet him, carne y hueso.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do think it's pretty awesome
cross
that
paths.
he did join the CantinaMX podcast once from the Ukraine, which I think is pretty cool.
It did. Yeah.
This
Yeah,
shows you the kind of clout we have here on the CantinaMX podcast. So we got
and he's
calling into the
very,
show from the Ukraine.
he's a very busy guy, so
Yeah. Anyway, well, Joel, it was great to have you on. Once again, Joel, I have to say this was probably one of our better podcasts here. It was very enjoyable. I think we were both in a good mood, and it was reflected in our excellent choice of topics, of course.
it was.
And the way in which we were able to present the information to our listening audience, with insight, with humor, frankly, with a little panache. It was a good show. You should be very proud. In fact, why don't you go ahead and just pat yourself on the back a little bit after tonight's show? I think that's
I just did.
Yeah, I did too.
While I'm still able to do that.
It was a good effort.
In a few years, I might not.
Yeah. When they do the Opta stats tomorrow and they listen to the show, they're gonna give us each an 8.9.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. I think we did all right. Of course, we're very happy that you guys joined us, and we have to say again, thanks to Chiquis Gamba for holding down the fort here in the CantinaMX podcast the last couple of weeks. It's going to be, for me at least, on a personal note, it's going to be. I know that we're going to continue to have the CantinaMX podcast. We may not necessarily have them on Thursday night, but I think that it's something that we will be recording more so, and then posting them on our on the podcast. So if you subscribe to the CantinaMX podcast on Google Play or on iTunes, I think that's probably going to be your best bet to listen to future and upcoming shows, because there's because of the way that our schedules are. Mine in particular, with my crazy NBA schedule that's coming up, it's going to be kind of like when we can do it. But we do want to continue to do it, and I think it's I always make fun of everybody here on the podcast, and occasionally make fun of myself. But I do think that the show is definitely a way for me to help peel some layers off of my football onion too. So I do appreciate y'all putting up with my endejadas here on the CantinaMX podcast.
And put our knowledge to the test, because we
That's
make
right.
claims, and then later on you have to, see how far off or how close you were to it.
That's right. But
I
have to admit that, Joel, for the past, at least for the past year or so, you have been el chaman.
At least with Chivas, I have been following them long enough to have a good understanding of the team.
Yeah. Well, glad to have you with us, Joel. We'll talk again at a future time. Glad to have you with us, joining us here on the CantinaMX podcast again. We're always live on YouTube Thursday nights. Moving forward, we'll see how that works out. But again, the best bet to catch us is on by subscribing to our page on YouTube, and of course on iTunes, the Podcast Center, and on Google Play. My name is John Jagu for Joel Aceves, and all of us here at the CantinaMX podcast. I bid you all a very good evening and enjoy the rest of your soccer week.